You need to watch this video because today I'm going to show you how you can use two chords to compose a song on bass. So let's get started. In my last video, I went over how to play a 2-5-1 a little bit. And at the end, I kind of did a one chord thing. And I thought, well, I want to do a video on how you can just use one chord that way, because the three chords can be a little bit difficult, but you can do the same thing with one chord. So I'm going to show you two different chords of that 2-5-1, the D minor and the G, and how you can compose two separate pieces to practice the chords. So if you followed my videos about the modes and the patterns, I went over, the C major mode, or Ionian. I went through each mode. So if you haven't followed them, you may want to do that first. But I'm going to take the D Dorian, which is the second mode. It's this shape. Again, I'm not going to go over all that because I got those other videos out. You can go back and watch. I go more in depth on there on how to get this pattern, or you can watch here and maybe pick it up. So that's the Dorian. And in order to get your chord, you skip every other note. If you start on D, you skip the E, go to F, that's your third. You skip the G and go to A, that's your 5. And then you skip the B and go to C, that's your 7. The F, A, C. That's the arpeggio. Arpeggio and a chord are the same things. Chord tones. If you hear somebody say a chord tone, that just means arpeggio. It's the same, it means the same thing. Chord tone are the notes of the arpeggio, the notes of a chord, But I like to play my chords with the third on the top, on the G, so it's not as muddy. You can play it down here, a D minor. It don't sound too terrible. I use that chord, but it's a little muddier. Here's the difference. When you put that third on top, it rings. So, if you take the notes, I got D, C, and F, and I'm just borrowing straight across the 10. And if you put those notes in any order, it's still a D minor. So an inversion is when you start on the F here, and you play like the D and the A, that's still D minor. So you can take those two chords, both D minor, but they still sound different. And make a little rhythm. We'll put it in a looper, like this. That's the thing, is you kind of need a loop pedal. Give me 1 second here. A loop pedal's best. I would recommend getting one for practice purposes like this, because this is the best way to get good and to learn this stuff. So I'm going to play that pattern here. Get this tempo right. So you put that in the loop. For a bass line, like a common bass line is usually a root and 5 in like a country song, So that's what I'm going to play. But I'm going to add that 7 in the C, so it'll be like a something like that. I got to hear this rhythm again real quick. So I know. Now you got a backing track. Then you just take that shape, that D minor. Practice soloing. Straight up and down for a minute. Now this is why I say you gotta learn it all over. Because if you take that same exact shape and you start on the 10th fret on the first string, same shape here. Got it down here too. You run them together. Then you got it here. Partially. And here. Practice this just like I'm doing here. All you gotta do is know where your D's are. And then learn the pattern. And if you don't want to learn all the notes, which you should learn all the notes, but that's up to you. But if you just find that D and you play the patterns, you know that pattern, as long as you start on that D, you're safe. Find all the D's. And then once you get it straight up and down, pattern, but once you know the patterns, you can start anywhere and you can go anywhere you want with it. That I done, it's from them patterns. And like I said, if you find the D as long as you know this pattern, you move that shape right here. And then you got a D here, but you only got a partial shape. You only got that much of it. I mean, you can keep going up, but if you want to stay in position in the shape, you can stay right here for now, you know. And you can start here. Same, if you find that D, you play that pattern. And that's one way. I mean, that's how I practice like that. So now I'm going to show you how you can do it with a G. Same idea. See, and the point is, I'm doing the D and the G because that's the 2 and the 5. And then you add in the 1, and then you got that progression I showed in my last video. But this is how I break it down. So, for a G chord, the G pattern is your Mixolydian. You start on the G, and it's whole steps. Easy pattern. It's like a funk thing. If you play a 1-chord vamp on a G7, it's a sort of a funk vibe, like James Brown thing. They did that all the time, using just 1 chord. And maybe 2 sometimes, I guess, but you can find lots of songs that are, it's that blues chord, it's got a flat 7 in it. Now I play my G7 up here. G is your 15th fret 1st string, F 15th fret 3rd string, and B is your 16th fret on the G. So, if you can see that, I'm holding this 1st finger here, 2nd finger on the 3rd string, which is straight across 15 and 15, 3rd finger on the 16. It's a cool sound. So you can take it and that's another inversion, starting on the D, B, and G. That's the second inversion of your chord. Still a G, even though your D's in the bass. If you learn the notes of the G, you know that they're G, B, and D. So I'm playing D, B, and G. Same chord, different order. Now, myself, I like to put effects on chords, and then I like to have a clean bass line. You can do it however you want. If you like, you don't have to put effects on it. Setting this loop up again. Just a G triad, then a 6 and a 7. So you take that G triad or the arpeggio, G, B, D, and F, your 7. I'm just adding the E in before I go to the F. some people might be following and be ahead. Probably not, but in the future. So we'll put this bass line in. Got a G here. And then you got a G here. And if you follow that pattern, again, all you got to do is know the G. Again, you got a G here. We're running that whole thing. This is actually an easy shape once you get it. Take that same D pattern we played over the last chord, you can play it over this one too. Sounds nasty. So, it's interchangeable. That's one chord. It's got the inversion, which kind of makes it sound like it has some more movement than it does. So if you practice that, the good thing about a loop pedal is, if you're not that great at playing the chord, as long as you can loop it, get the shape down and you can loop it, then you're okay, because you don't have to sit there and go back and forth and play the chords. You can still get your hands in shape by practicing the modes, you know. So if you can suffer through, because the chords can be difficult to get, but if you get a loop pedal, if you got a looper, you can get that chord in there, you know, then you'll be okay. Get those shapes down. Those shapes ain't that difficult. Like I said, if you know the patterns, you can find a root note and you can just run that shape. I'm different. I know all the notes and I studied all that stuff. Everybody should, but I'm not going to preach that. You can get the stuff down without really knowing the notes, but it is more really you can use the patterns to learn the notes, so you can kind of learn what you're doing. But you definitely want to know notes if you want to be good. I mean, in my opinion, that's my opinion. And some people have better hearing than I do. Maybe they can learn it all without knowing notes. I've seen people do it, so I'm not going to tell you that you absolutely have to. I would say I recommend it. But that's just two ways you can use chords. You can write two different songs with one chord, and then what you do is, I mean, you can copy what I just did for practice, and you got two things you can jam on. Then you take those two chords, each chord in its inversion, and you combine them and make up your own thing by using all four of them and just put them to a beat and then practice those patterns. And like I said, with the G, you can use the D pattern, so you're getting double practice. If you use the G and the D together, you're already getting it down. So then you can go back and add the two chords together and interchange it that way. There's multiple ways of doing this stuff. So I'm going to make some more videos over the same type of idea and maybe go into some other, like how to get a Lydian sound by doing the same type of things, or the Dorian sound, which is just a 2, but there's more than just that, because there are certain chords that you can play to bring out the tones that make it sound more Dorian or more Lydian, you know. It's not really that difficult, but it's a little bit different than what I'm showing you here. In the end, you're playing the C major scale, starting on the different notes, but you want to get the sound, be able to hear it starting on each individual note. Once you get that, it really opens your hearing up. And once you start to hear that stuff, you don't have to think about it. You just play it. So it just takes practice. And that's the easiest way to do it, is break it down to one chord. So just get that Dorian shape and that mixed Lydian shape down. I got videos on it. You can go back and watch them if you like. And I appreciate all the support. If you got any questions, just leave a comment. Ask me on live. I'll be on live streaming every day. I live stream, so you can ask me on live. I don't mind answering questions. I kind of like it, actually. But I don't play cover songs. People ask me to play covers all the time. And I am getting sick of having to repeat myself every day. But I don't mind talking about music. But thank you all for the support. And hopefully I'll see you on a live stream. Have a wonderful day.